spending more time watching Dangerously than Lawler is.
And Paul Dangerously is easing up on Austin Idol in the corner and on the King, Jerry Lawler. And Idol politely puts him back in his seat. Hard right.
Now, there's the situation we're talking about. Dangerously did more damage to Idol than he did to Lawler. Idol was so occupied getting Dangerously back to his seat that it gave Lawler a chance to come up from behind him and perfectly legitimate wait for him to turn around before he hit him.
The King, Jerry Lawler, going to work on the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol in the opening moments of this AWA World Heavyweight Championship match. Side headlock by the King as he clamps down with the pressure on Idol. And both men certainly going through their mind is what's going on with Paul Dangerously at ringside.
Well, now, Jerry Lawler...
From Dothan, Alabama. It's a hot July night. Continental Wrestling Federation on the air. Charlie Pat along with Missy Hyatt, and we'd like to bring in a gentleman who will be sitting in with us tonight from Pro Wrestling This Week, Joe Pedicino. Joe, come on in. A big night. The AWA World Heavyweight Champion is in town.
Well, Pro Wrestling This Week, as you know, is here taping its shows because of the competition in the Continental Wrestling Federation, and I'm very privileged to be sitting in with you tonight. I must say, though, if I had known you two were going to dress like this, I would have dressed up a little bit, folks.
Good to have you here, Joe. Missy, the road to Birmingham, the map gets closer and closer. We're a little over a month away, and next week on this program, we'll be giving you the date and all the details, the road to Birmingham, and of course, that will be for the crowning of the Continental Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion in the one-night tournament.
Oh, no, the one-night tournament, the road to Birmingham, and the date will be told on next week's show.
Something else we'd like to mention, something has happened right before we went on the air. Nightmare Ken Wayne has delivered a tape to our director, and he wants it played immediately following his match on today's edition of Continental Wrestling Federation.
Either if he wins or he loses.
Right.
Draw or whatever. It's supposed to be played.
All right. Once again, welcome to Dothan, Alabama. World Heavyweight Champion Jerry Lawler is here. A lot of big events coming up. More details on the road to Birmingham. Stand by. Let's go to the ring for our first match of the evening. Against the Intruder. Our opening match of the Continental Wrestling Federation. Good to have you viewing wherever you may be. Good backdrop by the Lord Humongous. Drop kick takedown. And the Intruder finds his way out on the floor. And Joe, Pro Wrestling This Week, I'm sure, is following the career of the Lord Humongous.
It's one of the biggest stories in the wrestling world these days. And that's one of the reasons that Pro Wrestling This Week is in the Continental Wrestling Federation, is that it seems like, what a power slam. This man is so huge. It seems like a lot of the top stories in wrestling are coming from the Continental Wrestling Federation, and it just makes it very exciting, Charlie, to be here. And this man is one of the reasons. Look, oh, ooh. I don't see how anybody will get up from that, Charlie.
In short time, it is over with. The big man, 3 1/4, standing in the center of the ring. The Lord Humongous is your winner of the match. And we have got the World Heavyweight Champion, Jerry Lawler, with us tonight. A lot of great things happening. You stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Super Summer Sizzler Tour 1988 comes to Meridian, Mississippi on Wednesday night, July 27th with a bell time of 8 p.m. And a lights-out match, the U.S. Junior Heavyweight Champion, Nightmare Danny Davis, defends his title against Nightmare Ken Wayne, and if Ken Wayne loses, he must retire from professional wrestling. Dr. Tom Pritchard with Bambi in his corner against the Dirty White Boy with Mystic in his corner, and if Pritchard wins, Bambi gets 5 minutes with Mystic. For the Continental Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship, Lord Humongous and Shane Douglas go against Detroit Demolition and the DI Bob Carter. Will he be hurt in a return match against Private Mark Pyle? The loser gets 10 lashes with a leather strap. In a special event, Mr. Olympia goes against Sika, the savage Samoan warrior, with brother Ernest Angel. In a battle of the bad guys, Alan Martin against Nightmare number 3, Nightmare Freddy. All this and much more. The Super Summer Sizzler Tour 1988 in Meridian, Mississippi, Wednesday night, July 27th.
My name is Frida. I dropped out of school in the 11th grade. Not only did I drop out of school, but I ran away from home. I think...
Can you tell us about Mid-Meridian?
Mid-Meridian is the Mississippi Industries for the Developmentally Disabled. This organization is dedicated to the gainful employment of the disabled who supposedly can't work in the private sector.
Miss Ford, do clients at Mid get paid?
Yes, all of our workers are paid for all work performed. Our function is twofold: to provide sheltered work, as Bill stated, and also to provide extended training for those people who can go on and get competitive employment.
Who are Mid's customers?
Mid does work for area businesses and industry. Our current customers now are Delco Rooming, Atlas Roofing, General Box, and Andy Priven Associates, among others.
Bill, how does one apply to Mid?
Simply by contacting Deborah. Remember, Mid is for everyone, both those who need help and those out there who have work that we may do. Mid is simply a place where good folks get together and good things get done.
Recent rains have helped ease drought conditions in the area, but it was too late for most cattle producers. Cattlemen are faced with feed shortages for the rest of the summer and winter. Most county ASCS committees have filed for disaster relief under the Feed Assistance Program. Producers needing help should contact their local ASCS office. The local number to obtain information is 693-5303.
You can tell by the response of the audience, Nightmare Danny Davis is in the ring against Alan Martin of the Continental Wrestling Federation. And Missy, an interesting development. So we hear, and it's rumored. In fact, you were the one that told me the rumor, and I think it has been confirmed. Both Danny Davis and Ken Wayne, because of their situation, have taken themselves voluntarily out of the big Road to Birmingham tournament.
And since I'm the one that told you, I'll let you get the scoop maybe later on in the program and just find out maybe why.
I would like to know exactly why this has happened. An interesting story about the Road to Birmingham, and Missy and I have been, Joe, promoting all these big stars in here. Interesting situation. We have a man here tonight as world heavyweight champion, Missy, that was originally in the tournament. We're talking about the King, Jerry Lawler. That just shows you how quick things can happen in professional wrestling.
Oh yeah, the title changed hands right there in Memphis, Tennessee. That means we're gonna have a title change right here in Dothan or Birmingham or anywhere.
Any city in the Continental Wrestling Federation, it can happen. Good back body drop by the Nightmare Danny Davis. Good drop kick, Joe.
Danny Davis, one of the fastest wrestlers in the business, and as a good friend of mine used to say, he's not fast, he's sudden.
Very sudden, exactly.
And right now, he's got Alan Martin wondering which way to go. Martin trying to gather his wits about him, and Danny Davis just standing there. You know, it's interesting what you said about he and Ken Wayne both pulling themselves out of this tournament, one of the biggest tournaments in wrestling, one of the best prizes to be going after, and yet they both pull out of the tournament. There's got to be something to that.
Exactly. Right now, it's Alan Martin with the advantage on Nightmare Danny Davis, and really throwing in on that left shoulder, banging away, and Danny Davis finds himself in a lot of trouble right here against, I think Missy properly named this man, Jack of all trades.
Yeah, who knows what he'll be doing next week? Maybe he'll even be setting up the wrestling ring.
Barber, referee, whatever. This guy does a 1-2 count, but the Nightmare Danny Davis powers out.
Let's don't take anything away from Alan Martin.
No, sir.
I mean, the man is a jack of all trades, and, you know, a lot of times they say jack of all trades, master of none, but the truth of the matter is Alan Martin is very fastly becoming a master in the ring. He is very impressive, and as you can see, he's wrestling one of the top wrestlers in the world today in Danny Davis, and more than holding his own.
Right now, it's Alan Martin. Good reversal by Danny Davis. Puts Martin into that turnbuckle. Follows up with the boots to the midsection. And a couple of rights by Danny Davis has Alan Martin wondering, what am I doing here? Oh, good shoulder smash by Davis. Puts Martin down, but there again, don't take anything away, Joe. Quickly he gets up.
That's right. This says a lot about both men. Look at the way Danny Davis. Now Davis over the top rope there.
And that's it.
The referee calling for the disqualification. Danny Davis, I don't think, wanted to win that way, though. I think he wanted a little bit more of Alan Martin.
Indeed he did. Your winner of the match is Nightmare Danny Davis. It's certainly with great pleasure and pride that I welcome the AWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's known as the King, Jerry Lawler. Welcome to the Continental Wrestling Federation.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I just wanted to say that I am looking forward to wrestling in this area. You know, I have heard a lot about the CWF area. I've heard that there is a lot of very, very tough competition down here. And that's my byword. Whenever I hear about tough competition, whenever I hear that there's a wrestler who thinks that he can knock me off the throne, well, I don't have to wait for them to come to me. I'm going to come to them, and that's why I'm here. We're going to see just how tough all of these guys are right here in the CWF, because I am the AWA World Heavyweight Champion. I have the title, and if any of these guys are big enough, if any of these guys are bad enough, I'm sure they'd like to have that title around their waist. All they got to do is take it away from me.
You know, Jerry, you were scheduled to be in the Road to Birmingham tournament. You were a part of that tournament originally, and you, of course, defeated for the AWA World Heavyweight Championship, Kurt Hennig. Something I'd like to mention, the challenges are coming into you before, you know, with the tournament going on and everything. You've got Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. You have got the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol. You got people like Will he be hurt? And what would happen to the King in a match against the Lord Humongous?
Well, as I said, you can make a list. You can get out a pencil and you can get out a piece of paper. You can go through all the wrestling magazines. You can look through all the television shows, and you can make a list as long as you want to. You can list your Austin Idols. You can list your Eddie Gilberts. You can list your Willie B. Hurts. You can even list your Lord Humongous. You can make that list from top to bottom. But at the very top, you have to put the World Heavyweight Champion. And when you write World Heavyweight Champion, you got to write my name beside it, Jerry the King Lawler. And what, brother, that says it all right there. I'm at the top of the list until one of those guys can knock me off. And I'm not saying that you don't have some great wrestlers here. I'm not saying that Eddie Gilbert or Austin Idol or Willie B. Hurt or Lord Humongous would not be a tough challenge. All I'm saying is, until they can take this title away from me, I am the World Heavyweight Champion, undisputed.
He is the King, the AWA World Heavyweight Champion, Jerry Lawler.
The Super Summer Sizzler Tour 1988 comes to Meridian, Mississippi on Wednesday night, July 27th with a bell time of 8 p.m. In a lights-out match, the U.S. Junior Heavyweight Champion, Nightmare Danny Davis, defends his title against Nightmare Ken Wayne, and if Ken Wayne loses, he must retire from professional wrestling. Dr. Tom Pritchard with Bambi in his corner against the Dirty White Boy with Mystic in his corner, and if Pritchard wins, Bambi gets 5 minutes with Mystic. For the Continental Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship, Lord Humongous and Shane Douglas go against Detroit Demolition and the DI Bob Carter. Will he be hurt in a return match against Private Mark Pyle? The loser gets 10 lashes with a leather strap. In a special event, Mr. Olympia goes against Sika, the Savage Samoan Warrior, with Brother Ernest Angel. In a battle of the bad guys, Alan Morton against Nightmare number 3, Nightmare Freddy. All this and much more, the Super Summer Sizzler Tour 1988 in Meridian, Mississippi, Wednesday night, July 27th.
A great lineup of the Continental Wrestling Federation coming to Meridian, Mississippi on Wednesday the 27th. With me now, Nightmare Danny Davis, and some interesting stipulations in Meridian.
That's exactly right. You know, first I'd like to touch on this thing with Lord Humongous and Shane Douglas. They're going against those titles against the Demolition and DI. That right there is going to be a great tag match, exciting tag match. Big men against big men. I've got something on the line that I'm sure all the Meridian fans understand. I made a statement. The statement was simply this: if I didn't beat you, Ken Wayne, I will retire. Now, that's laying it all on the line. That's putting my career, 9 years, on the line. You're a tough man. Well, I'm a tough man. I've got a lot of support there in Meridian, Mississippi, and I know they're going to back me 100% because I don't think they want to see me retire. Oh, I know you want to see me retire, Ken Wayne, because I've been a pain in your side ever since you decided to go to the dark side. Well, brother, let me tell you something. Those people are going to give me that support. It's a no disqualification match. That means if I want to hit the referee, that's fine. If I want to pick up a chair and bust you with it, that's fine, because I'm not going to retire. That's a promise.
I'm here, Danny Davis, and the war rages on between the dirty white boy and the doctor, Tom Pritchard.
I don't think so. It's going to be a hot, hot night in Meridian that night, because I tell you, when I beat you, dirty white boy, and I said when, I beat you in Meridian, Mississippi, I got a sweet little Georgia peach right here that's going to get 5 minutes alone in the ring with Mystic. I hope you like sweaty rings, Mystic, because it's going to be real, real hot.
Will he be heard coming to join us? He and the DI.
You know what, pal? Everybody knows you ain't nothing but a Goma. And I want everybody to know that you ain't finna slide out of this one. No, you ain't. No matter what happens in Meridian, Mississippi, you gonna feel the leather right across your back, and again, and again, and again, and again. Wait a minute, I ain't through. I'm gonna whip him some more. And some...
Black Rock, Nevada, and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Black Rock means land sailing, riding the wind across dry desert lakes, and Old Milwaukee means a great beer, cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer, and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place, and Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
You know, guys, it doesn't get any better than this.
Silver Eagle Records presents Motown's hottest hit makers, The Temptations.
Can't get next to you, baby.
Now, for the first time, you get The Temptations' greatest hits on 2 LPs, double-length cassette or compact disc. Use your credit card and call now. This is an exclusive TV offer and may not be repeated, so call now. When you order The Temptations' greatest hits, the first 10,000 customers will also get as a free gift the best of the 4 tops. The Temptations' greatest hits and your free gift, the best of the 4 tops, on 3 LPs, 2 double-length cassettes, $14.95. Compact disc, $16.95. Write or call now.
Vehicle approaches, yield the right-of-way immediately. It's the law, and the few seconds you provide could save a life.
July 2nd, 1988, in Dothan, Alabama, at the Houston County Farm Center. A night that will go down the record books with a question mark, not only in the record books, but in the mind of the universal heartthrob Austin Idol, who that night, on July 2nd, had his chance at AWA World Heavyweight Champion, the King, Jerry Lawler. What went wrong? All we know, possibly a man's past came back to haunt him. We're talking about the universal heartthrob Austin Idol, who once had a contract with Paul E. Dangerously to represent him in championship matches. The contract dated back to the early part of 1987. And in the night, in the match, before the match started, Paul E. Dangerously presented that contract and was the third element at ringside when Austin Idol faced the King, Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler, no love for Paul E. Dangerously, or Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, yet another figure who comes into play in Dothan, Alabama at the Houston County Farm Center. Austin Idol, we cannot reach the man. We have only got a recording on his home telephone that he is alive. How well, only he knows. The extent of the injury you're about to see with Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Paul E. Dangerously, well, Only Austin Idol knows that. He is not talking, not even to the president of the Continental Wrestling Federation. This is the most serious incident that has taken place in recent history in the CWF. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert is standing by in a waiting room here in our studio. We're going to have an exclusive interview with him a little later on. His reputation preceded him to the CWF. For the last 2 or 3 months, he has been present in the CWF, and no major incidents have taken place. Why did Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Paul E. Dangerously pick a night, a big night, in the career of the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol, a night in which Austin Idol was going up against an arch enemy of Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert? Only Gilbert knows, and hopefully Gilbert will give us that information. Once again, the extent of Austin Idol, the injury, we do not know. You're about to see what took place on July 2nd, 1988 at the Houston County Farm Center, the AWA World Heavyweight Championship of the King Jerry Lawler on the line against one of the top contenders, the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol, a man who's defeated Lawler on numerous occasions. Let's see what happened in Dothan.
It's a brawl. There's a 1, 2. Almost again. He's going to try again. 1, 2. Lawler able to kick out with just 1, 2, 3 times in a row. Lawler has almost been counted out.
Oh, man.
It's obvious to me that they are not interested any longer in a scientific match. This is a brawl to take it all. The winner of this brawl takes the championship belt home.
Into the ring ropes and...
all right, Austin Idol. Austin Idol lets Paul Dangerously know that he doesn't need or want his help. He spits right in the face of Paul almost again. That's a half a dozen times that Austin Idol has had a 2 count on Jerry the King Lawler. And all I can say is, if things keep going this way, we will see a new AWA champion crowned, Charlie Platt.
It's going that way right now. Austin Idol now reaching down.
What's he going to do here?
Looks like a suplex.
He's going to go for a suplex. Both of these men are worn out. I don't know if Idol, even with that body strength, he's got it up.
He can do it.
Down right on the back of the head. Jerry Lawler, he could be out.
Man, this could be it. Idol, though, getting up slow, and he needs to pin him in.
1, 2. The ropes. He got his foot on the rope. That's 7 times Austin Idol has been within a heartbeat of winning the AWA title.
What a match this is turning out to be. The Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol.
Now look at this. He's going for the leg. He's going, and he's pulling it. He's stretching that muscle. That means he's getting ready for the Las Vegas leg lock. Now wait a minute. Dangerously's on the phone, and I keep hearing him yell. Paul is going on the phone. If he gets this on, we'll have a new champion.
This could be it.
All right, he's got it on right in the middle of the ring. Right in the middle of the ring.
He's got him in position.
Dangerously has pulled the referee out of the ring.
What in the world?
Dangerously is stomping on the referee.
What in the world is going on?
Jerry Lawler is screaming his head off. Austin Idol has got the Las Vegas leg lock. Wait a minute. Eddie Gilbert is in the ring. Eddie Gilbert, and they've thrown fire. They've burned Austin Idol. They burned Austin Idol on the shoulder and on the side of the head. Austin Idol should be the new AWA World Champion. He had Jerry Lawler in a figure 4 leg lock. Paul Dangerously drugged the referee out of the ring. Eddie Gilbert came in and threw fire into the face and shoulder of Austin Idol.
Well, as I said earlier, the man's reputation preceded him into the CWF, and he has consented without his manager, Paul E. Dangerously. Where is Paul? I mean, we asked for both of you to be here today to answer a lot of questions in the minds of not only CWF officials, but the wrestling fans.
I'm sorry, I asked Paul. Paul's always going on television for me, Charlie. He's always talking about everything for me. He's great. He's such a great person to have around. But this one time, I said, Paul, if anybody calls, if anybody wants to know anything about what happened in Dothan, Alabama, on July 2nd, you make sure you call Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I want to be here live and in person. You, Charlie, right here, right now, explain everything to the people. Go ahead.
Is there a problem with you and Paul appearing together to answer questions? Do you have to, I mean, what's the deal?
The way I figured it was the CWF had to pay 2 of us to be here instead they only want to pay for 1, so I'm here instead, okay?
Why this incident in a World Heavyweight Championship match? Why do you throw the fire in the face of Austin Idol? And we don't know exactly where the fire landed.
Well, you see, Jerry Lawler just happens to be my idol, my hero, Charlie. And what? What? What do you mean it's a lie?
I know the...
Everybody out there knows. If you pick up a magazine right now, there's stories going around it saying, Jerry the King Lawler was hot stuff Eddie Gilbert's arm. He was a little bitty boy. When he was growing up, he wants to be just like him. So all I did in Dothan, Alabama, you want to charge me with something, it's not my fault. All I did in Dothan was go down, and when Austin Idol, Universal Heart, the person all the girls love, all the men regret, he's in there, he's got a figure 4 leg lock on my hero, Jerry the King Lawler. What am I supposed to do? I'm standing at the back. What have I now become famous for is being able to light a big ladder. So you like that, don't you? So I went running down to the ring and made sure nothing happened to my hero, my old Jerry the King Lawler. So that's in the story, isn't it?
And you think that Jerry Lawler appreciates that,
sure
right?
He does.
Jerry the King Lawler. We
know
have
he
talked to
likes me.
Jerry Lawler.
What did he say?
And I know
You wasn't
Jerry,
supposed
what
to talk to
Jerry
Jerry.
Lawler
What did he
thinks
say?
about you and
Yes,
what has
he
happened to
loves
him
me.
in the past
I'm like a
at the
son to
hands
him.
of you and Paul Dangerously.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really thinks a lot of you. Jerry Lawler is almost as upset about this situation as the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol, because you have tried on occasion after occasion after occasion
See,
to
Tony,
find
what
Jerry
your
Lawler.
problem is, it's just like all these people out there sitting right now, whether in Dothan, Alabama, whether up there in Birmingham, or over Columbus, Mississippi, back over to Florida somewhere, let's go over Louisiana, let's go at the end of the country, on FNN, Financial News Network, all across the nation. What the problem is, you, like all the rest of these rednecks right here, like Austin Idol, you look up to him, you worship the ground he walks on. When something bad happens to him, you gotta come say, why didn't you do it? Well, I told you before I got here, I'm a legend slayer, he's a legend, I got rid of him. Now you want to come to me and say, you want to have it, go ahead. Any more questions?
I have no more questions, but I have something to tell you.
Yeah.
The CWF board is meeting.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised what happens to Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert or Paulie Dangerously. And if we will be worried
You're not
about
supposed to be talking
seeing
about this
you
on TV right now.
anymore
You're not supposed to be
around
talking-
this area.
You shut up! I'm going to go right now.
And I'll be glad, ladies and gentlemen, to bring you a report on what the CWF has to do about this situation and an update on the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol.